everybody. We're back again to talk some more NFL football.
The following presentation is from
The National Football League. It's actually just from us here, but it's fun. We're creeping on down towards the end of the season. We have to go back and recap.
And the playoff race is getting tighter.
Yeah, we got to recap Week 14, and we're already up to predicting Week 15. There's only 17 weeks, so we're getting down to the nitty-gritty now. Now's when you do or you don't. Either you make the playoffs or you miss the playoffs. It's going to be made here in the next couple weeks, ain't it? Really?
The playoff race is tighter than the waistband on some very small clothes.
Yes.
That's how tight it is.
It's some tight racing. So we'll go ahead and jump on into Week 14 here and do a little recap on some of those races that happened last week. We had my poor Cowboys
laying another egg.
Laying another egg against a 6-6 Chicago team. So now they can't even beat anybody. That's 500.
Because, well, Mitchell Trubisky somehow found magical quarterbacking powers.
That's because the Dallas team has given up. That was pretty obvious. I hate to say that about my team, but they've given up on the coach.
They've gave up on Jason Garrett because
there was no effort. There was no effort in that game. At least
specifically
little effort.
in the first half. Specifically in the first half, they just basically rolled over and died.
They just showed up. Yeah, they didn't. Yeah, it was sad. But Chicago won.
What do you think is the next Dallas Cowboy head coaching candidate that you'd want?
I don't know. It's I'm gonna wait a little bit later because Mr. Clappy Clappy's going to be there the whole year. Jones won't get rid of him until it's off season probably sometime. So.
My team's still waiting for a coach.
Yeah, speaking of your team, they went into Atlanta and laid an egg too. Both of our teams are like suffering right now. Oh man, Carolina went into
Atlanta.
Lost
to the Falcons
by 20.
By 20.
40-20.
It's clear to me that they're looking ahead to next year.
Yeah, I think they are too.
Definitely with a new coach.
It would definitely be a new coach, and I wonder if they'll bring Cam back, because their backup quarterback there who's been starting is not looking
too great
right now. So we'll see if Cam comes back or not. We had Cincinnati go to Cleveland.
And Cleveland did what they're supposed to do.
Yep, 127-19. So Cleveland's still in the playoff hunt, even though
Freddie Kitchens is incompetent as a head coach, and he can't keep his players in line.
I heard that Odell was not happy there. That's rumored. That's got out now with how he's being used. So
I blame that on Freddie because Odell can be a great wide receiver, even though he has attitude problems.
Yeah, when you take Odell Beckham in there and you put him in that situation, and Jarvis Landry ends up top receiver on the team.
There's some clear issues that need to be fixed.
We had Tennessee go to Oakland.
And Oakland's playoff hopes are pretty much...
They're over. They're over. They're not going to make the playoffs now. It was 21-21 at halftime and 42-21 when Tennessee got done with them. So they doubled them up. Tennessee scored 21 in the first half and 21 in the second half.
They just find new ways to win football games. The Titans I don't know about this year and this year's Titans, but they feel different from the other ones.
They do. They feel like they got a chance to win almost every game they play because they got a good running game, and they finally figured out we need to lean on Derrick Henry. Maybe if we give him the ball 30 times, then, Tannehill will look good because we got single coverage on the backfield because Derrick Henry's taking up all the space in the middle. So,
Oakland's secondary is pretty bad, too. You give up 391 yards to Ryan Tannehill. I'm not saying Tannehill is a terrible quarterback.
But he's not a 400-yard passing quarterback.
But he's not a 400-yard passing quarterback.
Yeah. So, but anyways, Tennessee's looking promising and Oakland is not.
And the Titans are looking very good at a very good time.
The perfect time to start peaking, isn't it? With only 3 games left.
And they have a chance to claim the division title.
They do coming up this week, which we'll talk about here in a minute. First of all, we'll jump on into one of the really good games of the week. Baltimore went to Buffalo, and Buffalo put up a fight. Baltimore still won 24-17.
They were the first team to intercept Lamar Jackson since October the 6th.
So Buffalo's got a pretty good team.
Their defense specifically is a very solid unit.
I think they're still a year away
from really doing a lot.
And maybe another high offensive player, running back, wide receiver, something on that offense to help it get motivated a little bit more.
But the Ravens...
Buffalo's not a bad team, though. They should make the playoffs.
The Ravens have clinched a playoff berth.
The first team
in the AFC to do so.
To do so, yeah. So.
And it seems to me and Dad that they have the number 1 spot all but locked up right now.
Yeah,
unless
I
a
think
collapse
they do.
happens.
Unless they really look ahead and mess something up pretty bad, which they'd have to lose 2 games now.
With how they've looked, I don't see that happening.
I don't see that happening. No. We had Washington go to Green Bay, and Green Bay won 20-15. Not convincing.
Not convincing, but still a win regardless.
A W is a W. They're the number 2 seed in the NFC right now. So you can't fuss too much, even though they don't pass the eye. The offense doesn't pass the eye test.
Yeah, they've really just skipped a beat lately.
They have, yeah.
But Matt LaFleur really needs to try to find a way to get that thing going again. Maybe just get involved in the running back.
Who's their top wide receiver?
The running back, Aaron Jones. They need to get him more involved in the game.
Yeah, and they need to keep somebody healthy too. Maybe Adams.
Yeah,
he's been hurt a lot. So.
Yeah, he's dealt with a toe issue through the earlier part of the season.
Yeah, so I think a lot of injuries could be something to do. I think just maybe.
Luckily for them, they've got a fairly easy schedule outside of one team.
Yeah, They still have to play
Minnesota. That will decide the division.
That will decide the division. But I think both teams make the playoffs. So we had Detroit go to Minnesota. And Minnesota again didn't look fantastic, but they won 20-7.
Pretty much showed some of the same problems Green Bay did, but they still got the job done.
A W is a W at the end of the day.
And Minnesota using Detroit as their personal wedgie.
Yep, which most people do these days. When Minnesota plays Green Bay, it may be 3-3 or 3-2, so make it a safety, and the other one gets a field goal. Now this was the game of the week. San Fran went to New Orleans and won 48-46. Man,
that's a Big 12 game.
That's the no defense of the league Big 12 game right there. I don't. That really surprised me, to be honest.
The Saints defense failed them.
They did big time. Failed you too on the fantasy league, didn't they?
Yes.
Negative 8 points in fantasy. The San Francisco defense. That was, but Drew Brees, man.
Drew Brees really did perform very well.
That proves San Francisco's real.
That team is legit. They're playing extremely well.
They are playing extremely well, and we literally may see a rematch
of Baltimore and San Francisco in the Super Bowl.
In the Super Bowl, yeah.
Which honestly beats the other ones that we've seen.
Unless somebody peaks like a Tennessee, goes on and wins 5, 6, 8 in a row, and can put up. I mean, right now, San Francisco's beat Green Bay and New Orleans.
So I don't think anyone else can.
I don't see anybody in the NFC putting up any fight against the 49ers right now. The Rams are getting a little hot. It's going to take somebody getting on a buzzsaw hot to take down the
San Francisco 49ers.
Yeah. We had Miami go to the Jets, and the Jets won 22.
Jets.
22-21, but that's a W.
A game-winning field goal.
Game-winning field goal.
W-I-N.
That's all you want to do, maybe. We had the Colts go to Tampa Bay.
And Jameis Winston delivers some of his delicious classic turnovers.
He had some yummy, yummy turnovers and still won.
And still won the game.
And the Colts season
is pretty much in the toilet right now.
Yeah, pretty much. Like we said, this is the time of the year that's your make or break. And really, this week's game, their Week 15 game, if they lose it,
they're pretty much out.
Yeah, they're out. Yeah.
But how do you? Well, do you wonder how promising the Tampa Bay season could have been if Jameis Winston didn't turn the ball over so much?
Didn't he throw for 400 and
4 touchdowns and 400-something yards?
Which I think he threw for the most yards a TB quarterback has ever done.
Yeah, he's on
like 496 or something.
I think he's got a franchise record right now going on for him.
Yeah. So
imagine if he didn't turn the ball over.
If he could just not turn the ball over, quit taking unnecessary risks.
And stop becoming a turnover machine.
Instead of throwing 480 yards a game, throw for 350 yards a game, and don't take chances. just win. But
their record is 6-7.
If Bruce Arians can't make him a good quarterback, nobody can.
Jeez.
Bruce Arians.
Tampa Bay is 6-7. Imagine what they could have been without the turnover problems.
Without 25 turnovers.
23 interceptions in the season. That is 23
just... And then some fumbles, too. It's probably closer to 30 total turnovers now. That's bad. We had Denver go to Houston.
Talk about post-New England hangovers.
Houston beats New England pretty handily and then loses at home
to Denver.
To a non-playoff team.
To the Broncos, a team that has blown 4 fourth-quarter leads this season.
I gave up 38 points to them. That's a letdown, man. And now they have opened the door, like we said, for Tennessee to take the division.
That was a huge mistake for the Texans.
Monster. That was a monster loss. This time of year, losses are monsters. They can end seasons, change paths. They're huge, man.
That gives the door open for the Titans.
Titans, yep. Because the Houston and Tennessee played not one more time, but
twice in the next 3 weeks.
2 of the next 3 games they play each other.
Which I think they could have separated those a bit. But honestly,
it's going to be interesting, though, isn't it? It's going to be interesting. We had the Chargers go to Jacksonville. Jacksonville's done. It's over. Guess it's over. Unplug the machine, dude. It's over. Just let them die in peace.
What happened to the Jaguars? 2 years ago, they were AFC Championship participants.
They let Austin Eckler. It is Austin Eckler.
Austin Eckler
have 100 yards receiving. He's a running back, by the way. Let him have 100 yards receiving and 100 yards rushing. How's that for some defense?
Jacksonville is off of life support right now.
Yeah, they need to unplug the machine and just let it in, man.
I also heard their head coach, Doug Marrone, may be on the hot seat right now. It is a dumpster in Jacksonville.
When you're at home and give up 45 and you score 10 against a non-playoff team?
Yeah, that is just a disaster.
We had Pitt go to Arizona.
The Steelers and the Cardinals.
Mm-hmm. Cardinals gave up a little bit of a fight, but the Steelers are still
8-5,
23. They started out 0-2.
I think they started the year off 1-4, and now they're 8-5. It's something about Mike Tomlin, man.
People were saying get rid of Mike Tomlin when they were 1-4. You got to give him some credit now.
I mean, he's turned that shit around.
7-1 in the last 8 games.
And even if they lose the wild card race to Tennessee, they could still have a shot if Tennessee wins that division to take that wild card away from Houston.
Listen to this right here. Talk about how big games are at this time of year. Houston lost that game, and now Tennessee and Houston play this week. If Tennessee wins that, Houston went from leading the division with a 2-game lead to out of the playoffs if Pittsburgh wins. That's how big games are at this time of year. Houston really...
Way to go, Houston.
They could have blew it with that one.
Way to go, Houston.
We had Seattle went to the Rams, and that surprised people. The Rams really manhandled them. It wasn't even close.
And Seattle lost their secondary running back for the season, which will hurt.
That will hurt, yeah. And San Fran took the lead back in the division.
And most likely will stay there.
Yeah, I don't see anybody creeping up on them from there. No. So the Rams, like we said last week, the Rams looked like the Rams again last week.
Yeah.
And then they played this week, and they looked like the Rams again. I don't know what happened. They went down there and went click and turned the switch on or something and decided, Todd Gurley is where we should be playing again. And Todd Gurley looked like Todd Gurley from last year again. So if they're that team, they do have a chance.
But they have to be lossless or win every
if they
single
lose a game. If they lose a game, they're in the playoffs right now. If they lose a game, they're done. That's how big games are this time of year. The Rams have to win out all the way to the Super Bowl to win it. They cannot lose a game. They're in the playoffs this week.
So the Rams will really have to push on the throttle a bit.
They will, yeah. When in a beautiful, scrumptious, luscious game that everybody outside
holds high regard.
Yes, Kansas City went to New England and won. Thank you, Kansas City. Love from Tennessee. That was pretty nice, wasn't it?
2 straight losses.
Dude, how long has it been since New England's lost 2 in a row?
It was joyous.
Probably since Matt Castle. No, Matt Castle got 11 wins that year. I don't know how long it's been since they've had. I know. I probably should have looked at it. I looked that up. I don't know. But yeah, that pretty much sealed first place, like we were talking for
Baltimore.
For Baltimore, yeah.
And that seals a division title for the Chiefs.
Yes.
For the 5th year in a row.
Oh.
Talk about division dominance.
They got division dominance, but they're sort of like the Atlanta Braves of the '90s, though. They can't win the big one. They can win their division, but they can't.
It's Andy Reid we're talking about. We know he's going to choke in the playoffs. It's just what he does.
Yeah, it's just, yeah. Hopefully this year they can turn it around. I like the Chiefs. I mean, they're not my favorite team, but I like the Chiefs. The Chiefs are a fun team to watch. I like them. So
My homies.
Love you, my homie. And then on Monday Night Football, we had the Giants go to the Eagles, and the Eagles won in overtime.
The Giants are absolutely clueless.
Eli looked good. They were up 17-3 at halftime,
and their coach can't decide to make any halftime adjustments.
And then they didn't score another point.
I tell you what happened. Pat Shurmur didn't decide to give them any sort of halftime adjustments.
I don't know. He went in there at halftime and said, "All right, good game, boys. Y'all can just take off the second half." What the crap?
You're only up 17-0.
I don't. 17-3.
17-3.
17-3 at halftime, and then.
I mean, how do you spoil an effort from Eli like that?
I don't know. He had 2 touchdowns.
Pat Shurmur, that's why. Pat Shurmur. But that gives the Eagles more of a chance.
The Eagles are tied. Now, this is how sad the NFC East is. The Eagles are 6-7 and tied with Dallas at 6-7 for the lead of the division. The sad thing is, if Philadelphia loses the next 2 and ends up 6.
9. It's like if the Eagles lose 3 in a row and become 6-10,
and Dallas loses 3 in a row and becomes 6-10, one of the 2 is still going to win the division.
Actually, that can't happen because Dallas and Philadelphia play each other in the next 3 games.
Oh yeah, that's right, they do. So somebody
has to win or lose this division.
They could still be 7-9. Do they play each other twice or once? Just once, I think. So somebody could be 7-9 and win the division.
That's pathetic.
Honestly, that might just happen. But if it gets above 8-8, I'm surprised.
Oh boy.
Yeah, that's it. But anyways, we better jump into Week 15 and give you some of our predicts here. We got a pretty good Thursday night game. If you're a Baltimore fan, because the Jets are going to Baltimore. Love the Jets, Big Al, but I don't see Baltimore
losing this game.
No, I just don't. I think Baltimore wins.
At least this gives you better draft positioning.
Yeah, I think Baltimore wins by a couple touchdowns.
Because they're clearly trying
Le'Veon Bell's out sick, bowling.
Oh man.
Yeah, but that's not good. But I see Baltimore taking that one.
They're trying to lock up the number 1 seed in the AFC right now.
Yeah, and so I don't see them letting up on this game. And then Sunday we'll jump right in. This is one of the games we were talking about. Houston, after losing last week
at home,
and Tennessee
to the Broncos.
And Tennessee, after winning the last few weeks, they are now tied at 8-5.
Will Tennessee lose their momentum, or will the Houston Texans continue to tumble?
And they play each other this week. So if Tennessee wins, they're 9. Now this is at Tennessee. Houston's at Tennessee for this first game. So Tennessee's 9-5. Houston's 8-6. If the Steelers win, Houston's out of the playoffs. Yee.
Why don't they reformat these playoffs?
I don't know. I don't know. But Houston still got a chance because they play 2 more games, one of them being against Tennessee. But that's how big games are right now. That's how big. And honestly, this week, Houston at Tennessee, I'm picking Tennessee. Tennessee's pretty strong at home.
And they've been finding new ways to win.
They've been finding ways to win, yeah. And Houston found a way to lose last week. So we got Seattle going to your Panthers.
Who are on a
downward
spiral down a cliff.
Yeah, so I really think Seattle. I don't think Seattle's going to lose 2 in a row. I think Seattle's come off of that loss and they'll win against the Panthers probably.
Yeah, that's a good conclusion there.
Yeah. We got Cleveland going to Arizona.
Cleveland will pick win number 7 up against the Cardinals.
I think so. I think it's about a 3-point game. Don't think it's a huge game, but I think they can go out there and win. Especially with Odell Beckham, getting the rumor out that he's unhappy. I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't catch
100 yards,
100 plus yards and a touchdown this week. So, I want to pick him up on your fantasy team if he's out there somewhere. My poor team, the Rams are going to the Cowboys. I'm not going to pick the Cowboys. I'm not picking them anymore. I pick them every week and they lose every week.
Maybe
a little reverse psychology here.
But the Rams will probably be 9-5 after this week.
The Rams need this win, or they're out of the playoffs. Like we said, the Rams are in the playoffs right now. They gotta win out, or they're not gonna. The NFC is just too tough a division this.
They're tough a conference this year.
Tough. So they have to win out to have a chance to get in as a wild card, and they may go to 10-6 and still not make the playoffs. So they will beat Dallas this week, I think, pretty easily actually. We got New England going to Cincinnati.
So, we heard you've been cheating again.
But why do you gotta tape the Bengals?
Why do you tape the 1-11 Bengals?
What? You need help to beat the Bengals? What? Dude, that's not just wrong. That's sad. That's really sad. That the best quarterback in the history of football
and the
best coach in the history of football
would resort to cheating
to beat a 1-12 team.
A 1-11 Bengals team that is taking for the draft.
Yeah, they're losing on purpose. They know they can't beat New England. They don't want to beat New England. They want the number 1 pick.
Why are you trying to videotape them for?
Why are you taping them? New England's going to win.
But that is just pathetic.
That is so sad. Another game of the week. That doesn't really matter. Tampa Bay at Detroit.
Tampa Bay is... Jameis Winston's going to throw a ton of interceptions and still win the game.
Yeah, I think Tampa Bay does win. It's in Detroit, but I still think Tampa Bay gets it by 3.
The powers of Jameis Winston's turnover machine is so powerful that Detroit cannot defeat it.
No. We got Chicago at Green Bay. I think Chicago's season ends in that one. I got Green Bay by 6.
Green Bay always has Chicago's number, especially over the years.
Yep. Especially when it's at Green Bay.
Especially when it's at Lambeau. Yeah, that's a tough place to play.
We got Denver going to Kansas City. I think Kansas City big in this one. Denver just come off of a win, and they're only 5-8.
And Kansas City wants to build off a little bit of a playoff resume right now.
They would love to get up to that number 2 spot.
They would love to snag the number 2 spot, which would be funny if New England dropped out of the first round bye.
It would be fun, yes. But yeah, I think Kansas City 10+ points. We got Miami at the Giants. I'll pick the Giants.
Giants,
baby.
Eli Power? Maybe not this week.
I don't know if Eli will be back. I don't know, but every time Eli's in there, I want him to succeed. He's done so much for the NFL. He has a good guy.
And he's defeated Tom Brady twice.
We got Philly at Washington. I'll probably pick Philly again.
7-7. So you're picking the Eagles to lead the division.
Well, yeah, Dallas will fall out of division, but then Dallas might beat the Eagles.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, Dallas will beat the Eagles, and then they will both be. And I don't know. It's so sad. Jacksonville at Oakland.
I think Oakland wins the game.
I think Oakland wins the week too, and I think it's pretty good too. I think it's about 7+ points. I think Jacksonville has
fallen off a cliff.
That's it. They're done. Yeah. Minnesota at the Chargers.
The Chargers are.
That's going to be a tough matchup for Minnesota, but I still think probably. Do you think Minnesota might?
You think the Vikings claim that win?
It's going to be a tough one. I think it's going to be a tough one. If they do win, it's less than 3 points. I think it's going to be.
Let's go pick the Vikings.
Yeah, Atlanta to San Francisco. Maybe San Francisco.
How about that for a reunion?
Yeah, how about
Kyle
that?
Shanahan returns and plays the Atlanta Falcons.
Yeah, and beats them by 15 points.
Because that's the Atlanta Falcon way.
Atlanta Falcon way. Now, this is actually a pretty good game. The Sunday night game is Buffalo at Pittsburgh. It actually means something now.
It's playoff positioning.
I said Buffalo is at Pittsburgh.
Buffalo could actually drop to the 6th seed if they lose to Pittsburgh on Sunday night.
Yeah, and Pittsburgh could lose the last playoff spot if they lose.
So that and the Bills, all the Bills have to do to make a playoff spot now is to win this game.
Yeah, or if they lose this game, they're on the edge of dropping out of the playoffs. Oh, it's getting down to the end of the season, man. It's getting down to the end of the season. Who do you got, Buffalo or Pitt? Think Buffalo loses 2 in a row? You think Pitt finally loses
at home? I think the Bills get this win, honestly. I think Pittsburgh's offense has not been very good.
No,
And the Bills' defense
the Bills' defense is pretty dang good.
Pretty darn good, so... I'm going to pick Buffalo to claim a playoff spot.
And then finally, Monday night, the Colts season will end as they go to
the Saints that are coming off a bitter loss at home.
Yeah, so
they're going to come and kick some.
It's a 10-plus point game. They need to prove that they're still good enough to win. So,
especially if they want to keep up with Green Bay and San Francisco.
Yep. So that's it. That is our predicts for Week 15 and our recap of Week 14.
Extra special near the postseason.
Yes, we're getting so good. Man, the next 2 weeks are going to be so good, 3 weeks. But anyways, that's it for our NFL slot. Be sure and hit the like button down here, hit the subscribe button.
Send us a thought down below.
Yeah, leave us a comment. Share us with your friends. Tell somebody else how stupid we are. And you need to watch those stupid guys. Hit the groovy baby button. It'll be over there.
Somewhere on my face.
Other than that, we're done. We're done with NFL this week.
See you next week.